most beautiful churches in the world. Ever since inventing it, mankind has tried to reach God. Forms of expressing our worship have changed over the centuries, but some gorgeous constructions remain on foot to remind us how things were even back when the man was not still the center of everything. Along with some undeniable candidates for this list, we want to show you some modern architecture pieces you may not suspect are churches. Some of them you may have never heard about before and will surely surprise you with their remarkable designs. We did not consider the obvious St. Peter's Church for this list, considering it's already well known. Here are the top 10 most beautiful churches in the world. Number 10. Basil's Cathedral. By order of Ivan the Terrible, this church was built in Moscow, Russia from 1555 to 1561, and it was the city's tallest building of its time. It was popularly regarded as an allegory of the Jerusalem Temple in the annual Palm Sunday parade attended by the Patriarch of Moscow and the Tsar. The building is shaped like the flame of a bonfire rising into the sky, a design that has no parallel in Russian architecture. With 8 churches displayed around a central one and unique architecture, it is a Russian symbol often confused with the Kremlin. Several elements of the building style show a marked Italian Renaissance influence, although other experts have pointed out to English and German craftsmen living in Moscow during those years. As part of the program of state atheism, the church was confiscated from the Russian Orthodox community as part of the Soviet Union's anti-religious campaigns and has operated as a division of the State Historical Museum since 1928. It remains a federal property of the Russian Federation. With the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, weekly Orthodox Christian services have been restored since 1997. Number 9. Tempela-Laukayo Church. This amazing modern Lutheran church is in Finland's capital city, Helsinki. It is one of the busiest points of the city. Work of the architects Timo and Tuomo Saamelainen then won the concourse to build it. After frustrated plans for its construction in the past, it was finally completed in 1969, though with a reduction to a quarter of the original project size due to economic reasons. The interior is excavated and built directly out of solid rock and is bathed in natural light, which enters through the skylight surrounding the center copper dome. The church is used frequently as a concert venue due to its excellent acoustics provided by its rough, virtually unworked rock surfaces. The church has no bells, using loudspeakers with a record of bell sounds that was commissioned to Taneli Pusisto instead. It has a breathtaking circular copper roof. Number 8. The Salt Cathedral of Zipaquirá. This Roman Catholic church is built in a halite mountain near the city of Zipaquirá, Colombia, within the tunnels of a salt mine 200 meters underground. The cathedral is a functioning church that receives as many as 3,000 visitors on Sundays, but it has no bishop and therefore no official status as a cathedral in Catholicism. However, it has been described as a jewel of modern architecture and is considered one of the most notable achievements of Colombian architecture. It is a tourist destination and place of pilgrimage in the country. Salt deposits in Zipaquirá were formed around 250 million years ago and were raised above sea level during the late Tertiary period when the Andes were formed. The old cathedral was finished in 1954, but later closed during the 1990s due to structural issues. A new cathedral was started 200 feet under the original one. The temple has 3 sections representing the birth, life, and death of Jesus. The icons, ornaments, and architectural details are hand-carved in the halite rock. Some marble sculptures are included. Its 4 large cylindric columns represent the 4 evangelists. It has an electrical generator and access for vehicles to the inner space for emergencies only. Number 7. Borgund Stave Church. The old Stave Church is in the village of Borgund, Norway. It served as a church until 1868 when it was replaced by a new and bigger one. No longer used for church functions, it is now a museum run by the Society for the Preservation of Ancient Norwegian Monuments. Back in the 10th century, missionaries to Norway concerned themselves with establishing chapels, churches, and other ecclesiastical centers. This one was built between 1180 and 1250 AD, with later additions and restorations. Its walls are formed by vertical wooden boards or staves, hence the name Stave Church. The first churches in most of the newly converted territories were built of wood because it was an abundant material and it was the style they found already present. Thus far, archaeological exploration has revealed traces of wooden churches with embedded posts. Some of these early wooden churches disappeared due to neglect as well as fire and other natural disasters, but the rest were replaced by new construction. Nevertheless, 28 of the stave churches built after the year 1100 still survive. Number 6. Las Lajas Sanctuary. Commonly called Las Lajas Shrine, this is a basilica church located in the southern Colombian department of Ñuñoa. Built inside the canyon of the Guetara River, the present church was built in a Gothic style between 1916 and 1949. The name Laja, slab, comes from the name of a type of flat sedimentary rock similar to shale and slate. The inspiration for the church's creation was a purportedly miraculous event in 1754. According to popular belief, the Virgin Mary appeared to a woman and her deaf-mute daughter in 1754 at the same place where the church is now standing. Maria Meneses de Quiones and her daughter Rosa were passing by the Guetara River when they found themselves hiding from a storm. At that moment, Rosa shouted, "Mom, the Virgin is calling me," and pointed to the Virgin's image on a Laja rock. The woman kept quiet about the miracle until something even more incredible happened. When Rosa died, her mother returned to the place where she had seen the Virgin Mary to pray for her daughter's soul. The Virgin then miraculously revived Rosa, and mother and daughter could no longer keep the miracle a secret. This apparition instigated popular pilgrimage to the site and occasional reports of cases of miraculous healing. The image on the stone is still visible today. The first shrine was built here in the middle of the 18th century from straw and wood. It was replaced with a new larger shrine in 1802, which in turn was extended and connected to the opposite side of the canyon with a bridge. Las Lajas received canonical coronation from the Vatican in 1952 and was made a minor basilica in 1994. Number 5. Metropolitan Cathedral of St. Sebastian. The cathedral is the seat of the Metropolitan Archbishops of the city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The church is dedicated to St. Sebastian, the patron saint of Rio de Janeiro. It was designed by Edgar de Oliveira de Fonseca, a student of Oscar Niemeyer, in a modern style based on the Mayan architectural style of pyramids, and was built between 1964 and 1979. After the government moved the capital city to Brasilia, the 1960s marked major development for Rio's modern architecture and ambition as a global identity, commissioning Niemeyer to design the urban plan for Brasilia. Simultaneously to the cathedral's construction, many modern structures were built in Rio de Janeiro. The aesthetic brilliance of its massive conical shape and the Greek cross that dominates the ceiling, offering a skylight for the interior, is a work of art. The light that falls through the four arms of the cross convey God's falling from the heights to come out to men. The new cathedral, as it is sometimes called, is in the center of the city. Conical in form and with a 96-meter internal diameter and an overall height of 75 meters, the inside area is 8,000 square meters, and its standing room capacity is 20,000 people. Number 4. Archbasilica of St. John Lutheran. This cathedral in Rome, Italy, is the church of the diocese in the city and serves as a seat of the Roman Pontiff. It is the oldest of the 4 papal major basilicas, holding the unique title of Archbasilica. It is the oldest public church in the city of Rome and the oldest basilica of the Western world. Through vicissitudes, the Archbasilica retained its ancient form, being divided by rows of columns into aisles and having in front a peristyle surrounded by colonnades with a fountain in the middle, the conventional late antique format that was also followed by the old St. Peter's Basilica. Dedicated to John the Baptist, it boasts astonishing statues of the apostles to the sides of the aisles. Another highlight is the Scala Santa, or Holy Stairs, made of white marble steps encased in wooden ones. They form the staircase which led to the Praetorium of Pontius Pilate in Jerusalem, and which therefore were sanctified by the footsteps of Jesus Christ during his passion. During the Second World War, the Lateran and its related buildings were used under Pope Pius XII as a haven from the Nazis and Italian fascists for numbers of Jews and other refugees. Number 3. Notre Dame Cathedral. Famous worldwide because of Victor Hugo's novel The Hunchback of Notre Dame, this cathedral is an icon of Paris and France in its own right. The cathedral was consecrated to the Virgin Mary, and it is one of the finest examples of French Gothic architecture. Its pioneering use of the rib vault and flying buttress, its enormous and colorful rose windows, as well as the naturalism and abundance of its sculptural decoration, set it apart from the earlier Romanesque style. Major components that make Notre Dame stand out include its large historic organ and its immense church bells. The Gothic cathedral was a poor man's Bible since it was covered with sculptures vividly illustrating biblical stories for the vast majority of illiterate parishioners. The tympanum over the central portal on the west facade, facing the square, vividly illustrates the Last Judgment. The exteriors of cathedrals and other Gothic churches were also decorated with sculptures of a variety of fabulous and frightening grotesques or monsters. They were part of the visual message for the illiterate worshippers, symbols of the evil and danger that threatened those who did not follow the teachings of the church. Amid all the religious figures, some of the sculptural decoration was devoted to illustrating medieval science and philosophy. The gargoyles were the rain spouts of the cathedral, designed to divide the torrent of water which poured from the roof after rain and to project it outwards as far as possible from the structure. Many of the statues, particularly the grotesques, were removed from the facade in the 17th and 18th centuries or were destroyed during the French Revolution. They were replaced with figures in the Gothic style designed by Eugene Viollet-le-Duc during the 19th century restoration. After burning in 2019, it is currently being restored, and the French government expects it to be fully repaired in 2024. Number 2. Hagia Sophia. This one is a late antique place of worship in Istanbul, Turkey, that has served as a Greek Orthodox Christian patriarchal cathedral, a Roman Catholic cathedral, an Ottoman mosque, and a secular museum. Built as the Christian Cathedral Church of Constantinople between 532 and 537 on the orders of the Roman Emperor Justinian I, it was then the world's largest interior space and the first to employ a fully pendented dome. It is considered the epitome of Byzantine architecture and is said to have changed the history of architecture. Episcopal See of the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople is reminded the world's largest cathedral for nearly 1,000 years until Seville Cathedral was completed in 1520. After the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman Empire in 1453, it was converted to a mosque. In 1935, it was secularized into a museum. In early July 2020, a decree of the President of Turkey ordered the reclassification of Hagia Sophia as a mosque. From its initial conversion until the construction in 1616 of the nearby Sultan Ahmed Mosque, also known as the Blue Mosque, it was the principal mosque of Istanbul. The Byzantine architecture of the Hagia Sophia served as inspiration for many other Ottoman mosques, including the Blue Mosque. According to the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Hagia Sophia was Turkey's most visited tourist attraction in 2015 and 2019. Number 1. Sagrada Familia. This is the large, unfinished Roman Catholic minor basilica in Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain. Designed by Spanish Catalan architect Antoni Gaudí, His work on the building is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. On 7th of November 2010, Pope Benedict XVI consecrated the church and proclaimed it a minor basilica. On 19th of March 1882, construction of the Sagrada Familia began under architect Francesco de Paulo del Villar. In 1883, when Villar resigned, Gaudí took over as chief architect, transforming the project with his architectural and engineering style, combining Gothic and curvilinear Art Nouveau forms. Gaudí devoted the remainder of his life to the project and was buried in the crypt. At the time of his death in 1926, less than a quarter of the project was complete. Relying solely on private donations, the Sagrada Familia's construction progressed slowly and was interrupted by the Spanish Civil War. In July 1936, revolutionaries set fire to the crypt and broke their way into the workshop, partially destroying Gaudí's original plans, drawings, and plaster models, which led to 16 years of work to piece together the fragments of the master model. Construction resumed to intermittent progress in the 1950s. Advancements in technologies have since enabled faster progress and construction past the midpoint in 2010. However, some of the project's greatest challenges remain. It is anticipated that the building can be completed by 2026, the centenary of Gaudí's death. Gaudí's original design calls for a total of 18 spires, representing in ascending order of height the 12 apostles, the Virgin Mary, the 4 evangelists, and tallest of all, Jesus Christ. The church will have 3 grand facades: the Nativity facade to the east, the Passion facade to the west, and the Glory facade to the south, which is yet to be completed. The basilica is a symbol of Barcelona and has a long history of splitting opinion among its residents over many issues related to it. The sculptural details on its facades are a unique work of art, as well as its windows that allow the interior to be flooded with beautiful colors. These churches are architectural masterpieces that can be appreciated even by the non-religious. Of course, there are much more than the ones on this list. While they share a common history related to Christianism, each of them showcases characteristics of different countries and periods. Do you know any other churches that might as well be on this list? You may share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button for more exciting videos.